شيعتنا المتبازلون في ولايتنا. That our Shi'as are the ones that struggle or sacrifice in our way. Now that struggling or that sacrificing in the way of Ahlul Bayt can come in the most simplest of forms, such as giving money. Or it can go, as in generally that is the simplest form of our sacrifice that we tend to do is give money. I mean, that's the easiest, not the simplest. Easiest being because nowadays it's very, easy for someone just to write a check, to give some money, to, there's some homeless people, some might, okay, no problem, I'll write a check or I'll give them money and leave them be. But I don't want to be the one that is feeding them with my hands. I don't want to be the one that's actively going out and doing the work for it. So those, when the Imam speaks about the Shias, they're the ones that sacrifice, they're the ones that struggle in the way of the wilayat of the Imams, in the way of the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt. Because this wilayat is not something that is easily maintained. What we'll look at in tonight's lecture is this whole concept of it's very easy to do deeds, but it's very difficult to maintain them from being destroyed. Everything that we've done just through looking somewhere we shouldn't be looking, just by talking about something we shouldn't be talking about. There's small examples. Talking during the adhan, the recitation of adhan, 70 years worth of ibadat gone. Talking while Quran is being recited, 70 years worth of ibadat gone. Talking in the graveyard, talking during the iqamah, talking about worldly affairs when a person's in a graveyard or there is a salat al-mayyit happening. So all of these things we do, it's very easy to pray, salat al-layl. It's very easy to recite Quran. Anyone can do it. But it's how you maintain it afterwards. Because one action can wipe everything away. And so the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt, on the face of it, is very easy to gain. But it's very difficult to maintain. Because Ahlul Bayt have a certain amount of expectations from us. And although we pay some sort of minute lip service to their teachings, we don't really follow them as is the right for those things to be followed. We sacrifice money in the way of Ahlul Bayt. That part of the, in the spreading of the religion, yes, okay, you've got this project, no problem, here's the money. But giving time is something very different. Because we don't give importance to time, or timekeeping, or punctuality. What happens is Allah takes away the barakah from our time. So a person's always saying, oh, I don't have time. Or they're always turning up somewhere late. Or they never can maintain or keep to the schedule. I mean, especially amongst the followers of Ahlul Bayt when it comes to, attending a masjid program. And there's obviously a far more sinister, darker side to it, is that there comes a point where there is this concept of the heel of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It opens in the opening lines of Dua Abu Hamza al-Thumali, says, Ilahi la tu'addibni bi'uqubatik. My Lord, don't discipline me through your punishment. وَلَا تَمْكُرْ بِي فِي حِيلَتِكَ, and do not subject me to your plot. See, and the plot of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very complex in the way that it operates. You think that you are doing something out of your own intentions, i.e., take the example of, like, for example, I'll just hit the end and I'll catch the niyaz, or we'll just delay it and we'll get there for the food. And I think that that is my intelligence. Like, in one sense, it's something that, will work in my benefit. Because I'll just catch the last bit of whatever's being said, and then it'll be time to pray and eat. It'll be easy to get past. What I don't realize is this is me becoming subject to the plot of Allah. See, my intention to miss. So there might be something that's said early on that I miss, that could have defined my life or changed something in the way that I do something. Could have changed the way that I do istighfar, could have changed the way that I think about Laylatul Qadr, could have changed the way that I turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what I do, by staying away so much, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, okay, khalas, no problem, that's fine, you can stay. Stay away, you don't need to make no time. So then what happens is things begin to get in the way. Whereas I think they're very trivial things. I think it's through, whatever, kids aren't getting ready on time, or the wife isn't getting ready on time. The, work's getting in the way. I just got a random call from work, or I have to do it. This is not connected to me. This is the plot of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That He takes away our opportunities for gaining proximity to Him. This is what it means by the heel of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All those that killed the Imams, in their eyes, they were executing their will. But in reality, they were executing the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because though Allah knew what the end game is, but these individuals that went to kill the Imam, Allah said, okay, you're intent on doing it like this, no problem. We'll go down your route, but what you don't realize is through the killing of Abu Abdullah, it will ultimately lead to the demise and the downfall of Yazid and an awakening of this ummah. So now, they've intended to do something. مَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plot and Allah plots. And surely Allah is the best of plotters. Allah is the best of planners. So now they're coming forward with the intention to kill Abu Abdullah. Allah has said, okay, you want to kill him? That's fine. You seal your fate towards hell through this action. But you won't succeed in what you hope to achieve, and that was the crushing of the message of Ahlul Bayt. Rather, through this killing, I will allow it to flourish even more. And so this concept of the plot of Allah is very delicate. Now, a person should be questioning every single opportunity and every single time in their life that they've missed something connected to the religion, i.e. you've missed Dua Qubail, or you've missed Salatul Jama'at, or you've missed an opportunity for dua, and all those, the years that you've fallen asleep on Laylatul Qadr, the years that you haven't been able to stay awake. This is not from us. Because through years of turning away, we become subject to the plot of Allah. So then I reach 10, 20 years down the line and I think back and I say, why is it that I used to be able to pray Dua Qubail every Thursday? We used to, when we were younger, we used to pray Dua Qubail every Thursday. But it's in the last 2 or 3 years I've been so busy I just haven't had a chance. Think back. And we've probably forgotten it, but there must have been a turning point. There must have been a sin that I committed, that Allah took away the barakah. He took away that na'mah from me, so that I wasn't ever, so even if I tried to turn up on time, even if I tried to recite that dua, I couldn't. Because I've spent so long being inattentive to my duties to Allah that He takes away that opportunity. But the Shias are the ones, al-mutabazaluna fi wilayatina, the 8th Imam says. He says that they struggle in our way. When we take the easy route, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then also leaves us to ourselves. There's always an easy route and there's always a difficult route. Easy route generally is the sin. The harder route is always the route of ibadat and servitude. If you look at any sin and look at I could have sinned, or I could have done the opposite. At that point, those two options that we have, our choice to go on whichever one, the sin is always the easier one. To worship or to turn away from the sin is difficult. The Shias, they struggle in the way of Ahlul Bayt. They don't just, they don't just turn up. They don't just say, it's not convenient for me, I'll go at this time because I'm too tired. Right? No, they struggle. They make the extra effort to go above and beyond the call of duty in the path of Ahlul Bayt, in the pursuit of knowledge of Ahlul Bayt. They go over and above the call of duty. But when we are sort of accustomed to this easy lifestyle, then we start to, lax. We start saying, okay, no, someone else will do it, someone else will open it, someone else will be there, and I'll be okay. At least there'll be some people there or whatever, and then I'll be fine. What I don't realize is it starts off maybe as my intention, but it ends up as the plot and the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That now He says, okay, you've spent all this time not wanting to incline yourself to religion, fine, carry on. And every now and then in our lives, the divine breath, it blows towards us. What I mean by that divine breath is that feeling of religiosity, that feeling of being more spiritually inclined, that feeling of wanting to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It generally happens during Shahr Ramadan because, mostly because we're staying off all, those foods that we would usually eat that create spiritual blocks for us. Many of our foods, they are the reason for our lack of spirituality, our children's lack of interest in religion. A lot of it is due to what we put in their stomachs. Especially here in the US, you guys have very lax laws in regards to what goes in your food. It was the greatest shock to me when I saw that vitamin D was being added to milk. I was like, who needs to add more vitamins to milk? There's clearly something wrong with the cow that it came from, that you need to fortify it with vitamin D even more so. And it's small things like this, all of these things, they have a spiritual effect on us, upon our children. What we place in their stomachs is what will eventually incline them or take them away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why keeping that button, keeping that stomach tahir is so important. So we get more inclined towards Allah not because Allah has magically appeared in Shahr Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was always there. We don't believe in the movement of Allah. We don't believe in the changing of the states of Allah. We don't believe Allah descends from the 7th heaven and comes to the 4th heaven. We don't believe that God will be sitting on a throne and put His foot into the belly of hell. No. Allah does not have makan, He doesn't have place. Yes, we sometimes give Him makan by saying, okay, I'll only be religious in Shahr Ramadan. What I don't realize is subconsciously I've committed the act of kufr, that when I'm in Shahr Ramadan, I will try and pray on time. What, as if Allah only exists in Shahr Ramadan. This action is giving Allah makan. Subconsciously I've committed the act of kufr. I've disbelieved. It's not that Allah magically appears in Shahr Ramadan, that I stop doing all the haram that I used to be doing, or I start praying on time. No, it's because the main effect being the one of the purity of the stomach. With the day we don't spend eating all of these foods that are mutashabih, that we don't know whether halal or haram, maybe in the middle somewhere, it's okay. And so we don't spend our time eating those foods. And so what happens is slowly but surely that spiritual purification begins to take place, and we start to feel that divine breath blowing towards us. And we begin to turn towards it. And then the moment the month ends, we turn away from it again. And so then that opportunity that Allah gave us to be able to turn to Him, to be able to come close to Him, like that divine breath, it comes and says, look, this is it now, build on this. Make yourself a better person from this. But because we don't incline ourselves towards it, or we look forward to the end of Shahr Ramadan, we fall back into those old habits again, and we become subject to the plot of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where I think it's because I wanted not to turn up on time, or it's because I think that I wanted not to hear the full majlis or the full dua or catch the end of salah. It's not because I wanted it. The concept of the plot of Allah is Allah wanted it. You spent so long turning away from Allah that He's now taken away the opportunity for you to arrive and be able to benefit fully from that gathering, or from that dua, or from that lecture, or from that salah, or from any of these things. And that's the scariest thing, this concept of the makr of Allah. So the eighth Imam, he says that Shi'atuna al-mutabaziluna fi wilayatina. Our Shi'as, they struggle in our way. Wal-mutahabuna fi mawaddatina. They are the ones that are friends with each other for the sake of our love. They know each other and they create friendships with each other because they know that the other loves us. Because that individual has an inclination towards Ahlul Bayt. And this itself is a very important point, that if we want to save the future of our children living in a society of abject kufr, then look to whom their friends are. Look at the ones whom they spend most of their time with. Because it is those children that will influence it. Everyone has grown up with their parents telling them not to do something. But their friends are doing the opposite. And the pressure of the friends is far greater than the one that can be yielded by the parents. Especially here in America, it seems. There's so many parents that I can't control them. It's like, yeah, but your child is 15. Why can't you bring him to the masjid? Oh, he says no, he doesn't want to come. Like, how does that even work? I'm 30 and if I don't go to the masjid, my mom gives me such a hard time that I make sure I go to the masjid when I'm at home. So, this whole idea of, oh no, they're 15 now, or they're 16, or they're 17, and I can't bring them to the masjid. They're like, no, I don't want to go to the masjid. This is totally alien. Like, at what point did this start becoming a thing? There should be, essentially, in those formative years, there should be no leeway in it. When a child in those initial 8 years effectively grows up in a spiritual environment, that seed will be sown for the rest of their lives within their minds. That every week we go to the Husayniyah, every day or every other day there's a program, we attend, we never miss. But if mom and dad are only turning up for, the end iftar in Shahr Ramadan, and they're only turning up for the majalis al-Muharram, then there's no hope for the future generations. Rather, their friends will take them. And if their friends are not the followers of Ahlul Bayt, their closest friends are not the followers of Ahlul Bayt, then you will find a stark difference in the attitude of your children as time progresses. Because especially if their friends come from kufr, they come from a family which isn't religious, not inclined to God, doesn't have those values of respecting the parents, slowly but surely you will see that those will begin to erode in your own home. And friends are the big cause of destruction. In fact, the Holy Quran in Surah An-Naba, if I'm not mistaken, says that Ya laytani, on the day of judgment they will say, Ya laytani, lam attakhiz fulanan khalila. How I wish I hadn't taken this person as my friend. That people will be dragged into hell because of their friends. So, al-mutahabuna fi mawaddatina. They are friends as a result of our love. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وصلى على أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين علي بن أبي طالب. وصلى على الصديقة الطاهرة الممتحنة الصابرة فاطمة بنت محمد. وصلى على سبتي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسن سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصلى على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والقائم الحجة المهدي.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
اللهم
محمد.
عجل فرجه وسهل مخرجه واجعلنا من عوانه وانصاره والمستشهدين تحت لواء الصلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
In the last couple of minutes that I have, I just want to highlight, because the second khutbah is essentially reserved for social matters of the Muslimin, the political matters. And there's a number of things that I could speak about, Brexit being one of them, which has come as a big shock to everyone across the pond, that we're in this situation that we are, having to leave the EU, but there's far greater repercussions for that, for the Muslims that are living there, because essentially the whole Brexit movement was a right-wing / far-right movement. And the fact that it's gone through shows a change in the attitude of the general public in the UK. And so times are going to become difficult. And times are already becoming very difficult for you guys over here. At least in the UK, it's kind of difficult to get hold of a gun. In America, it's not so difficult. And so you need to be more aware of what's happening around us, how we are trying to integrate. And I use the word integrate, not assimilate. Integration is, yes, we're American, but we're Muslim. Hey, come and have a look at our center. This is what we do, this is what we believe. We're having all of this. I mean, generally we tend to do all these candlelight vigils and all of these things only when something happens. And the reason we do it is not because we care about Islam. Yeah, okay, we go around and give people bottles of water, and we give them roses, and we give them little things, and we say, oh no, but Islam is a religion of peace. Islam, this is what the Prophet said. Prophet didn't believe in this, and we do all of this, but we don't actually do it for Islam. No one cares about Islam. All we care about is us, our own problem, because we know now, oh my God, there's a real possibility that I may be attacked, my family may be attacked, my Husseiniya may be attacked, so I quickly do a candlelit vigil in the hope that I protect myself or those that surround me. I don't care about the religion. No one's ever cared about the religion. And these whole candlelight vigils, otherwise they would have happened all year round. We would have done them for the oppressed all year round. For all the oppressed around the world, we would have done candlelit vigils. But the fact that we only do it when something happens that may cause an effect or some sort of repercussion upon us shows that we don't really care about Islam. So once we've cleared that we actually, nobody cares about Islam really, we're just paying it lip service, then we look forward to how is it that we can actually care about Islam? If we want to, if we haven't already been subjected to the plot